Hello everyone, hi, this is Christopher again, and today I'm going to share with you this deck which I normally share with resellers and also with end users. And this is very important because you can actually use this slide as a topic to talk to them, and you can actually use this to, well, get their attention on non-related product. So you can actually use this Gen Z, the future has arrived deck, to actually talk about what we can actually talk on their workforce transformation for their future. And this normally is very unique selling point for us where we actually did this survey, and I don't think any other brands actually talk about this. However, this is part of the workforce transformation, and I hope that you can actually use this as a guideline and as a reference of how you can actually use some of the topics and some of the talking points with the customer or even your resellers. So let's start with this. And Gen Z, the future has arrived, and you can actually use topics or even examples that are familiar to you, and it makes things easier so you don't have to memorize what I'm going to present here. And you can see that this is actually a picture of people taking selfie and Wi-Fi together, and this is how Gen Z actually works. So let's start off with the first slide here. So here, what you can talk about is that the future has arrived. Are you ready for Gen Z? Gen Z are people who are born in after 1996, and we actually did a very important survey where we actually surveyed over 12,000 students from high school and even college students around the world. And now we actually focus on a few countries, which I'll share with you who they are, what countries they are. But the most important thing is that this message is about by 2020, the global workforce will be represented by 20% of Gen Z. As an organization, welcome this digital native Gen Z. We need to actually talk about how well are all these organizations ready for these Gen Z employees. So this is actually something very good and something that we can actually talk about with them, where we can, instead of just telling them that, hey, it's time to refresh your hardware, but we talk about why they need to refresh their hardware. So this is very important as we talk about the why rather than what. So as we go on, we are actually changing the way we speak to our customers, and that's why this Gen Z is being studied. In this slide, you can actually see some of the countries that has been used to do this survey, namely Australia, New Zealand, Indonesia, Japan, Malaysia, the Philippines, Singapore, Thailand, and Vietnam. And from this study that we found out, we actually came up with 6 key findings, which are here. Number one, we talk about Gen Z wants to work with cutting edge technology and is eager to share its knowledge. Number two is great technology will entice these Gen Z job candidates. Three, Gen Z cares about data security but have no idea on how to even address it or even protect it. Number four, Gen Zs are confident about their tech skills. However, they are not so eloquent with the workforce readiness, meaning soft skills on how to communicate or how to express themselves. Number five is Gen Z wants to work more than just money, and this is something that actually shocks a lot of people. Number six, Gen Z is eager to have more human interaction. So these 6 key findings, normally I would present it in a very easy way by talking about an example. Like for example, I use my own personal point of view or my experience as I grew up. So I normally share with resellers and even end users. Like for example, I study every morning when I wake up when I was young. I play with my neighbors, kids, friends. I jump into rivers. I have a lot of interaction with my friends when I was young. And I was only introduced what internet is when I was in the high school, say from 3 or from 5, right? And you can talk about how you introduce the TM net, which is 1515, or the jarring is 1511, which this actually will bring back a lot of memories to a lot of audience and a lot of CIOs who are, from that generation as well. And you talk about, the experience of how you dial up use the RJ11, which is the small cable for your phone, and then You dial up, and the dial up will normally take about maybe 5 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes before you actually get a successful line. You connect the RJ411 to the modem, the external modem, which is normally will give you a 14.4 kbps or 28.8 kbps, or at that point of time when you have a 56.6 kbps, you'll be top of the world, where that's the fastest speed that you can actually drive. And then you talk about, as time goes by, today you are talking about 1 meg Mbps, and you still complain that it's slow. So this actually, by this point of time when you present this, normally you see a lot of people smiling, a lot of people actually laughing. So this actually brings back the audience engagement, which you know that you are doing a great job. Okay, so keep it up. All right. And next, you can talk about summary of this story is that you grow up with interaction, but you will introduce technology. However, today's kids, they grow up with technology. Like when they're young, iPad is their babysitter, and next thing you know is they grow up with pressing phones. You give a 3-year-old a phone and you walk away, and then you come back. I guarantee you the 3-year-old will be able to find a game in the phone and play with it. So this is like somehow the kids know how to use it, how to navigate it, right? So you talk about the technology has changed, it's the other way around. However, when it comes to interaction, who teaches them? Is it the parents? Is it the school teachers? So this is where it comes down to this example is it shows you that kids today, or the Gen Z today, they are very well versed with technology. However, they are very uh, they need help, right? Let's say poor, but they need help in interaction. They need help in communication. They are more eager to have more human interaction because they grew up with looking at jungle through the screen. They're looking at cats or mouse or whatever through screens. They do not really know that a chicken feels like a chicken, or a mouse feels like a mouse. They don't even touch one, right? So this is something that you can talk about, right? And Gen Z, you can talk, and from this story, you can actually link to number one, where they want to work with cutting edge technology to share their knowledge. You can talk about number four, which is they are very confident in tech skills, but they are not good in the workforce readiness. And number six, it's they are more eager for human interaction. And depending on the time on the presentation, you can actually talk about a second story, which I normally use, where a fresh grad like a Gen Z, who is an A-star student, where he managed to get two interviews, one from company A in the morning and company B in the afternoon. So he goes to the company A for an interview, and he found out that company A actually has a door. You open up the main door, he sees a reception, which is a wooden reception, which is very old, 20 years old easily. Some part of the wooden reception has been chipped off, and there's a lady sitting there asking, "What are you doing here?" And say, "I'm here for interview." And the lady said, "Okay, go there and sit down." So as you move to the sofa at the side, you sit down, and next thing you know is that the sofa is pretty old, and the moment you sit down, your backside actually sink into the sofa, right? So that is a very weird experience, right? And then you waited for 10 minutes before your interviewer comes out and bring you into the room. As you walk in the room, you see piles of papers everywhere. It's not really, everything is done very manual, and then the interview went on. So when interview goes on, everything's okay, and you leave the company A and you went for lunch. After lunch, you go to company B. Now comes company B, you come to upon the main entrance, and the sliding door opens with a very nice momentum where it goes sliding door, psh, and then after that you walk in, and you realize that wow, a nice acrylic desk at the reception, very nice, beautiful be built, the logos with LED lighting, and then the lady stands up, say hi, what can I do for you? And say I'm here for interview, and she said, oh, you must be Christopher. And then the interviewer actually usher you to the pantry while we wait for the interviewer. At the pantry, you could see there are tall chairs, high chairs, bean bags everywhere, foosballs there, and there's vending machines, and even there's a coffee machine where it's self-service, and you can press a button and you can have your latte. The milk was steamed with the type of sound of the milk being steamed, and you get a fresh coffee. So while waiting for interviewer, you sip your coffee and then you walk into interview. And the whole thing went well, right? The office is clean, there's no piles of papers everywhere, everything is IT and stuff. Okay. So at the end of the day, a few weeks later, both offer you job. Now, at this point of time, you can ask the audience. So now, ladies and gentlemen, between company A and B, which one will you choose? Very likely you see a whole bunch of your audience would choose company A. No, not many, totally none. But when you say company B in the afternoon, you will see your audience actually raise hand. So this is the part, right? So you can see, wow, I just transformed all of you into a Gen Z because all of you who raise hands on company B forgot to ask me one question. Or before you even decide, you all forgot to ask me one question. And the question is, who pays you more? So at this point of time, you can actually prove that, guess what? Gen Z wants more than just money for work. They want experience. They want they want the company environment, right? So that's proof on number five. And when it comes to number one, you can actually talk about how Gen Z is attracted to cutting edge technology. You can just say that, in a very simplified way, in that, imagine you report for work for the first day, you get an employee pass, and then you're given a notebook. Right? So you open a notebook and you realize that it's been used. It's second-hand notebook is recycled. You go back to your desk, you open out a notebook and realize that the LC has, some saliva stain from the previous user is not even clean. And when you try to overturn the notebook and you start, with a small tap from the back, you realize that things start to drop out from the keyboard. Like, for example, the crumbs, right? You can say that biscuit crumbs or whatever, and you can, add a bit of joke in there, like, even hair that drops out. And, if it's straight, it's pretty okay, but when it's curly, oh my God, And when you say that, normally the audience will laugh, and because that actually brings them back to their own experience as well. And you can talk about second experience where you report for work and as usual you get employee pass, but at this time you're given a new notebook. You're given a box. You bring the box back, you open up the box and say, wow, nice XPS, brand new, rose gold. And the next thing you know is you take it out and then you open up the notebook and you realize that, wow, it's beautiful, it's clean, and it's new. You power on, the first thing you realize is that you will take out your handphone and you take pictures of your notebook and your cubicle and stuff like that. And next thing you know is you will post it on YouTube and you post it on Facebook, you post it on Instagram, and you hashtag things like first day at work, Dell, XPS, I'm happy, I'm working in this new company, stuff like that. So that's what Gen Z does. So you can give a summary of what this happens is that people would then go and lie and start asking, hey, where are you working now? And you say, oh, I'm working in this place. So you create awareness. So at this point of time, you can actually do a summary saying that, well, this actually proves that Gen Z wants to work where cutting edge technology is, in a way that when you post this on Instagram, your friends see it, your friend will be attracted to join this company. So resumes will come in on its own, and your HR will tend to get more resumes. It attract talents, and the best part is it retain talents, because talents right now are feeling that they have the latest technology. They can do their knowledge, they can share their knowledge, they can do their productivity to the max. That is what Gen Z are thinking about, and that's how they think. So they grow up with technology, definitely they want the best, right? So this is where you can prove number one, which is Gen Z wants to work with cutting edge technology. You can also prove number two, where to great technology will attract or entice Gen Z job candidates. So this is where you talk about one and two, right? And you can talk about number three, where security comes in, where Gen Z knows about security, but they still give away their information easily. For example, you can talk about the hashtag of the 10 years challenge, where people post pictures up of their face and before 10 years ago, and they put it side by side and the hashtag. And you can talk about the latest, which is photo apps, which is the one that you can predict how you look like in the future. So these are the things where people do not know where these pictures are being uploaded and it's actually misused or it could be misused and stuff like that. So this is where security is being aware that data security, but they do not know how to protect it. So this is how we comes in to help them protect. So this is a summary of you talk about all the six. right? So having said that, you can actually say how we make things happen and how we come in as a solution provider, right? And if times allow, you can actually talk about the key findings in real detail. You can actually flash one of it, talk about it, and then you can just say that I will send these slides to you as a reference in PDF, of course. So the key findings number one is Gen Z wants to work with cutting edge technology. So here are some of the numbers that you can support why they say so, right? 85% want to work with cutting edge technology in their future career. 78% are willing to be technology mentors to others on the job. 98% have used technology as part of their formal education. And 97% says technology literacy matters. So this is how you actually comes up with this summary. So number two is great technology will entice this Gen Z job candidate. So 91% says technology offered by employer will be the factor of choosing almost the same similar job offer, right? And 82% believe that technology and automation will create a more equitable job environment, which is work environment. So this is the example that I talk about company A and company B. When it comes to number three, you can talk about the hashtags, right? So Gen Z cares about data security, but not sure how to address it. So you can see that 73% rank data security as a high priority, but 32% says they are doing everything they can to protect their data. Only 32% know what they are doing, right? So that means out of 10 people, seven have no idea what to do. Okay, this is what it means, right? And 95% are careful about what they post on social media because it could impact their future career. So this is something that you can talk about is, today a lot of HR is actually filtering the candidates through a third party, where a third party actually do investigation. And how this third party do investigation is they go through all social media to see what you post. So if you, for example, if you post things like from your timeline like, oh, my boss is a jerk, or my boss is really stupid, or I hate my boss, I hate my company, negative remarks about your boss or your company, this actually impacts your career. This actually impacts your chance of getting the job. And this is something that is why our social media is our image today. It's not no longer like you appear there and that's your first image or your first impression. Your first impression is right now your timeline. So be careful on this. Okay. And number four is about confident about tech skills, but they are not really workforce readiness. So 70% rank the technology literacy as good or excellent. Yes, no problem. They all grew up with technology anyway. 50% or 56% are more confident that they have the technology skills the employee wants, but not non-tech skills. So this is like nearly out of 10 people, six only knows that they have the technology skills, but they don't have the soft skills. So this is what it means. Okay. And 55% rank their education as good or excellent at preparing them for future career. So this is what, they are very good in their education, but seriously, they really need to really look into their future as well. 96% have concern about starting work. Well, seriously, they do not know how to interact, they do not know how to talk, and they're very scared in talking to people. So this is what it means. Number five key finding is they want more than just money. So 41% want to work for socially environmental responsible organization. Well, this is where more and more people and more children today, and more workforce today are more realized on environmental friendly. That is why lately Dell has been doing a lot of awareness of, like, for example, our Optiplex is 46% using recyclable material, our packaging is using recyclable plastics, our XPS packaging is using the Whale project where they actually pull out all the plastic from the ocean and they make into packaging, right? And then the second one, talk about 53% wants the ability to learn new skills and have new experience, okay? And 45% wants to know more than just beyond getting paid. So they want to have CSR project, they want to be involved in CSR. So you can talk about organization where, in future they can actually do team building with CSR, and I'm sure all these people will just sign up. Okay. Then come number six, right? So Gen Z is more eager of human interaction. So 42% prefer communication with coworkers, and they would like to talk to people. They don't really like to work from home anymore. Unlike us, we started our life with working in companies, 9 to 5, clock in, time in, and so on and so forth. And when we are given a chance to work from cafe or remote or flexi hours, we are very happy. But to To the Gen Zs, they are from the other way around, right? So they prefer to work in the office. Okay, so this is very different. 74% expect to learn the job from coworkers and other and not online because they are used to learn things from online like Google and stuff like that. So when they get to learn things from people, they are more happy. All right, so this is what what it means, right? 83% says that social media can be valued tool in co-workspace. So this is how they say that social media is more valuable, right? It's a valuable tool in the workspace. So they are more to Instagram, they're more to putting things online and stuff. Okay, 51% prefer to go to workspace versus working home, which is supporting the first 42%, and 60% prefer to work as part of team versus working. So they love interaction. They want to work with people. And this is what it means by the number six key finding. So at this point of time, normally you already created a lot of attention with your customers, your audience, and where they are very interested, hey, how can they help? So you will go into the second part on how they'll actually understand people. And from Dell understanding people, we actually go into the persona, right? So from here, we understand that future generation is Gen Z and what they want, right? So you need to have, for example, your working environment to be Gen Z ready. For example, the environment, right? Needs to be friendly, needs to be open, needs to be bean bags, needs to be tall chair, high chair, needs to be a long table, bench table rather than cubicle, more interaction type. Hotel desking is what they're looking at, where people come in and go, as it goes on, right? So this is what it means by working with a facility and working with the customers and the end user, right? And then after that, you also can talk about how you can actually bring all this information with HR so you can actually retain talents at the same time you can grab more talents in, and HR will be very interested. Okay, then once you understand all this, you can actually map this to the persona where we have the seven persona, and for a persona, you then only link to the devices that is recommended for each persona. So from here, you are not hard selling your product, but you are giving solution to workforce transformation. And this is all what about workforce transformation. And this is normally customers by this time will be so attracted that, hey, tell me more, tell me more, and tell me more. So they don't see the value of just you selling hardware, but they see the value of you giving them how to retain talents and how to attract talents and how to increase productivity. And that's where you talk about second LCD increase productivity by 20% and stuff like that. So this will come later on, right? So this is where you get yourself a very different way of selling. Okay, so with this, I would like to thank you for your time. And you can actually get the slides from me if you want. Just PM me, I'll send you the slides. The slides is about 14 meg because of the pictures and stuff. So please PM me if you want. And I hope this video and this audio recording will help you into enable you to present well. And all the best to you. Thank you very much for your time.